The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar, Creating Future Leaders Through English, Science and Maths through the Leadership Skills Programme. My name's Rob. I'll be delivering the webinar for you today for about 20 minutes, half an hour. Just a couple of kind of basics on the webinar setup at the minute. Everybody is muted, so you can't communicate until I unmute you. What we're basically going to try and do is deliver the presentation. I will open up a question and answer session towards the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions you'd like to give verbally, then just please hold them to the end. Just a couple of navigation things on the toolbar that you'll see. If you want to minimize that so you can see the full presentation, there is a small orange arrow. So if you just click that, that'll minimize your toolbar and get rid of everything so you can see the full presentation. There is also a raise your hand function. Now, during the question and answer, because everybody will be obviously muted, if you just click that, I'll be able to see it and I'll unmute you and say your name and ask for your question, essentially. There is also a couple of other tabs which you see are available to you. There's a questions box, which you can actually write in there any questions as we're going through the webinar. What I will do is in the question and answer section at the end, I will be basically looking through these questions and answer anything that hasn't already been answered. I also have a colleague that's working with me on the webinar who will be actually writing a few of these answers in this question box. Those questions are only visible to the presenter, so myself and my colleague. They don't actually show up to the rest of the delegates on the webinar. So that's a personal question. Again, there's no questions which are kind of too daft, really. There are also a selection of handouts on there as well. So what I've done is I've added the specification for the qualification on there, so the actual breakdown of what needs to be taught, and the learning outcomes. I have covered the actual webinar presentation, which is on there for you to download at your leisure, and also a information document, which is a PDF of the Leadership Skills Programme, which gives you a bit of an overview, some key outcomes and some key impact figures as well around the programme itself. So that will all be sent to you as well via email after the webinar, so don't be worried too much about downloading those during the webinar process. We will forward all that information on at the end of the day. So without further ado, I'd just like to carry forward. Basically today what we're going to do is we're going to run through a bit of an overview of what it is, how it's come about, so essentially the research has gone behind it and how it will impact your schools and colleges. Look at the introduction to the programme itself, so look at the actual breakdown of how it's delivered, the delivery model we've got and the qualification side of things. Look at the benefits and impact of how it's going to benefit your schools or your colleges, wherever you're from, and also look at how to register and implement this and give you a couple of examples of what schools have done in the past, essentially. Okay, well, we're an organisation that focuses around leadership. We did a lot of research around 2016, which was looking at leadership through different mediums, and around 70% of head teachers actually found that their students raised attainment due to taking part in a leadership program, whether that was through sport, through dance, through outdoor expedition, through maths, literacy, foreign language. So we currently award all these different types of qualifications and awards. So we've had some quite key impact figures. Around 75% of teachers on the leadership programs as well agreed that it benefits employability skills and that attainment of learners. So it's a cross-curricular benefit delivering leadership to young people. Organisation is called Sports Leaders UK. We've delivered sports leadership and dance leadership, outdoor expedition leadership for around 35 years. We're an awarding body that specialises in leadership skills in people. So we develop courses to basically benefit young people and to benefit those around those core skills of leading others. We have around 2,000 delivery centres across the UK and internationally, with around 90,000 gaining qualifications and awards every year. So quite a high number of people undertake the awards and qualifications and are certified through that process. The majority of the courses are done through peer-to-peer learning, so there's a core delivery of the actual qualification, but there's actually a volunteering aspect as well on the end of the qualifications, in which the people undertaking those courses then have to go and support other activity in those different mediums of which they've undertaken a course of study. The whole focus around it is obviously leadership skills, so we're building confidence, character, resilience. We're actually developing communication skills, all those types of skills which are transferable, more soft skills we like to call them. So why we have discovered it is wanted by schools and colleges. So there's a range of research out there to show that developing leadership and delivering leadership to young people actually develops them in other areas. We've currently got a background in delivering sports leadership, dance leadership, Lone Expedition. We also have a number of awards which we have delivered through literacy, numeracy and foreign language as well. So we have a background in developing leadership skills through a different number of mediums rather than just the traditional sports as we are Sports Leaders UK. We're trying to enhance the Progress 8 and Attainment 8 through intervention strategies. So it's looking at an indirect route of developing those skills in young people which will transfer across your curriculum and across the whole organisation. So delivering leadership to young people is shown to have that cross-curricular effect of making people more confident, making people, giving kids higher self-esteem, making them more engaged within other subjects. Also looking at developing the employability prospects of young students. So essentially as part of the process, they will be gaining a qualification for the CV, and they'll be recognising that leadership skills are transferable. So it's not just focused around your core delivery of GCSE, A-level, BTECs, whatever courses you actually deliver. So there's an additionality aspect there as well. So essentially, it's a core course that is delivered through English, Science and Maths. So the focus around the activity is there's a 10-hour course which needs to be tutored. That can be tutored through curriculum, extracurricular or enrichment. It doesn't have to be within your specific lessons. There are 2 core units. Now, the main focus around that is developing leadership skills. So it's focused around communication, motivation, problem solving, being flexible, developing those skills and behaviours such as respect, creativity, determination, and identifying how these skills then are transferable across the curriculum and across into different areas. So the whole idea is that these aspects are taught, and the learners then will go off and utilise those skills and show that they can use those skills in leading an activity, which is essentially the unit 2 of the delivery. The leadership skills can be delivered through English, Science or Maths. It doesn't have to be a combination of all 3 or a selection of 2. It can be done just through one of those mediums if that's what you want to do. It's targeting Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. So we have a number of organisations which identify learners who are particularly strong in this area and then develop a peer mentoring system for young age groups who are potentially struggling with certain concepts within those curriculum areas. We provide online tutor training as well. So for your teachers and the staff who are looking to deliver this course, essentially what happens is we will train them online, provide them with the information. That's a certified training that sits with the tutor for a 2-year period, in which they can then deliver this leadership skills program for that period of time. We have 18 activities and session plans which also tie into the specific curriculum areas. So there are 6 activity cards for each. At the end of Unit 1, learners are then tasked to go off and essentially demonstrate their leadership skills. This is where the activity cards come in. They're pre-prepared activities, so there is a little preparation that needs to be done by your staff in terms of developing sessions and developing activities for the leaders to plan and deliver. The focus around that is on the leader actually delivering it themselves and then evaluating themselves as well. So looking at a progression route, a self-evaluation model. So what we can do, essentially they are easy to deliver courses. We provide all the resources to actually deliver this course. So there is no extra preparation time for you or your staff beyond what is provided. Each one of the units is broken down to a PowerPoint, which is essentially the sessions that you need to deliver over those 10 hours. Every activity is on there which needs to be delivered to understand the skills and behaviours and how these are transferable. So there's very, very little extra time your staff would need to do in terms of actual preparation. The tutor resources are then provided for you. We also provide a number of sessions that you can deliver to younger staff, but that's not the only option. Those 18 activity cards are not compulsory. So if you've got specific students that are potentially want to develop in certain areas within those curriculum areas, you can then design your own sessions or ask the learners to design their own sessions, not specific to those 6 activity cards that are provided per curriculum area. So that's given a little bit of flexibility to target younger people who are struggling in certain aspects as well. These are nationally recognised qualifications, so they're going to add to those student CVs. They're going to obviously build up a little bit more around their soft skills as well. It fits alongside the Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 national curriculum. So the activity cards themselves have been designed by maths teachers, English teachers and science teachers to fit within the curriculum areas that you're trying to target and to benefit the students that are essentially struggling or potentially trying to develop other young people within those curriculum areas. So they're very relevant to delivery at the moment. They're also going to help develop and essentially evidence developing skills within young people. So trying to build that towards the SMSC, British values and the citizenship agendas as well. So building tolerance, respect, cooperation, working in a team, respect for all ability levels by leading other young people that will naturally be developed within the kids undertaking the leadership skills program. Trying to focus around progress 8 and attainment 8. So looking at indirectly benefiting the learners. A more confident student, a more empowered student, a more engaged student is more likely to be more successful within different curriculum areas as well. They'll be more engaged, more confident learners, more likely to ask questions, and more confident learners more likely to engage within those curriculum subjects. So it's hopefully going to benefit the whole school in that way. There are a number of ways in which you can engage young people in this. We have some examples of schools that have targeted at high achieving students to then go off and be mentors and to be role models within specific curriculum areas, English, maths or science, and then developed a peer-to-peer mentoring system within their year groups. We've also had a few schools which have developed this for essentially disengaged students. So putting the students within a position of responsibility to deliver maths, English or science to a younger age group. And we find that that's got quite a high impact in terms of that engagement of that learner, because they're given that position of responsibility for maybe for the first time, which helps them actually engage with that subject and learn that subject a little bit better. The idea is the students will then go off and lead and assist and deliver a core of activity. There is a minimum of 1 hour demonstration of leadership which needs to be done as part of the course, but I'll be honest, every single school delivers more than that and asks their volunteers and their learners to deliver, to actually deliver more volunteering hours than that, and they actually do that because it's not just a 1 hour course, it's trying to develop benefits throughout the whole school. Also adding to different CVs and making sure that those skills are reinforced throughout the actual delivery of the course. There isn't academic containment, so they're looking at applying those skills within different settings. So being in that role of responsibility, making sure they're evidencing what they're doing, they're developing the confidence, they're being more motivated, they're looking at basically being a bit more employable as well. An extra qualification on the CV, very, very important. The key skills are also transferable. So whether the learners are moving into the working environment, whether they're moving into HE, moving into FE or apprenticeships, we've got a qualification here which is showing that these learners are able to organise, to plan, to evaluate, to work as a team, to lead another group of people. And they're doing that through a nationally recognised qualification as well. The way it operates is on a yearly license basis per organisation. So we have two options available. One is the Leadership Skills Programme for 75 learners. So you can put 75 students through a level 2 qualification for £999, which is pretty good value per head. We also have something called the Recognition Awards, which within that Leadership Skills Programme for 75 learners is a recognition of learning. So if there are not 75 learners going through the qualification side of things, so the actual quality assured aspect, then we basically can recognise learning. There's also included 2 tutor training places in that, so you can have 2 staff trained through an online webinar system, which they will then be able to go off and deliver that course. There's also a lighter option, so if you have smaller groups, those groups will also be available to be essentially more condensed down, so to speak. So a smaller group for a little bit of a lesser fee. Now, currently we have an offer on in November for the Leadership Skills Programme, the 999, which is 20% off essentially for the registration of the courses before the 30th of November, so Thursday essentially. So it basically is £799 for 75 learners to go through this course over an academic year. The next steps, what you need to do is register through the LEAP system, which is an online system. We will send you these links through after today, so it's quite self-explanatory how to go through there. You then book a place on a tutor training webinar. Obviously, your teachers are then actually upskilled to deliver this course. They'll understand what needs to be done in terms of evidencing the learning of the students. We'll provide access to the resources. You then go off and register your course and your students and deliver the course. Another way that can be approached is you can book the tutor training in advance. So you can actually get your teachers sat through the tutor training of the course, understand exactly what's delivered, all the requirements in terms of teaching, in terms of evidencing the course itself, and in terms of quality assurance. And then that will be taken away if you decide to actually deliver the course itself. So that fee will be taken away. Additional tutor training places are also available for £100 per tutor. So if you want an entire department skilled up, then that can also be done as well. So basically, after today, what we do is we'll provide you with the presentation slides, the information and the specification. So the information which is currently on the handout section. So that will all be forwarded through to you. We then also have a number of regional relationship manager staff to actually help support your school. So each school or each college or wherever you're from essentially is assigned a main contact through our organisation. These people will be in touch with you in 24 hours after this webinar, just to provide any potential support that you need and answer any more questions that you may have as well. So hopefully you've got all the answers that you potentially need to essentially deliver the course. So I'm just going to open it up to questions. There is the raise your hand function. So if you do have any questions, then please raise your hand, to be honest. Okay, thank you. Rob Crookston, I believe.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, yeah.
What's the advised pupil-teacher ratio when there's contact between tutors and students?
That would be on your organisation. So it'd be, whereabouts are you from? Sorry, what organisation are you from?
We're from Sutton Community Academy in Nottinghamshire.
Yeah, okay. It would be the normal ratio to your normal teaching classes, essentially. So whatever the school is covered under insurance.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, perfect. No more questions, I believe. Thank you very much for your attendance of the webinar. We'll be in contact with you through a follow-up email as soon as possible, and our regional staff will be there just to answer any questions you've got, and they'll be in touch with you in the next sort of 24 hours. Thank you very much.